Now it's a pleasure for me to invite to the stage for our next communication Rina Corti, who is the responsible for the institutional communication service of the University School, Professional University School of Italian Switzerland. Cristina Elia also, who is responsible for the institutional communication at USI, and David Guy, who is the Director of Marketing and Strategy of the Franklin University of Switzerland. And we have already met Davide. We've known each other for a long time when you created the initiative for IT Ticino, Ticino Informatica, and we therefore are very happy to welcome you here again. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thank you, Giovanni, for your very interesting talk. I may start from there, actually, because our idea was, or we have been actually offering for some years already, a course that was called Research in 120 Seconds. And Giovanni, we transformed that into 90 seconds, actually, because we noticed that 120 seconds were maybe too many. And therefore, maybe Pablo, who is going to be after us with his communication, with his talk, will explain that even 90 seconds are still a little bit too much. But what I want to do in my introduction is to just thank the city, in particular Lugano Living Lab, and also the municipality and ENAB for having transformed this occasion, which was born some years ago with USI and SUPSI, and having it transformed into this, which I think is a much more professional version of what it was initially, also with a different target, of course, because we do it first for our young researchers, and we are very, very pleased, therefore, to propose it now as well to the students, who will therefore be able to acquire new important competences. So my invitation, of course, is that of really taking advantage of this as much as you can of this occasion, because there's a lot to learn. It's going to be a great occasion, not just for you, as Davide is going to explain in a moment, but also for the universities. And this is also why it's so important to talk about institutional communication. And I may give you maybe the floor now, Cristina, yes, Rina, sorry. Yes, a couple of words just to give you the context of this talk, because we have actually chosen to propose this to you, let's say, with 3 different speakers from 3 different universities in Ticino, because we thought it could be useful to launch the messages and the concepts that we're going to convey to you this evening, which are in fact transversal messages, and they are, of course, valid regardless of the institution that you belong to. Now, more specifically, we're going to go into depth with 2 aspects. The first is the one concerning institutional communication, which means everything that represents this initiative that you're participating in. So the universities, of course, that you belong to, and also what this implies. And the second one, the second aspect, is opportunities. So talent scouting in a global market, which means what opportunities are out there exactly for you yourselves who are participating in this initiative. So I want to start from one premise, that you as students in this context are also our ambassadors. In fact, we're not going to be, let's say, giving you a course on institutional communication, but we just want to make you aware of the fact that you yourselves represent, but also your classmates and also your course as such in your university, you represent this community. And this is really a very good opportunity for all of us, for all of you, and it's going to be also very interesting, I think, and very stimulating to upload these videos on a national platform, which is something, of course, that not everyone has a chance to do. And this opportunity, I believe, also gives us some duties, though, and some responsibilities. Why do I say that? Because we like to think that together as a community, so SUPSI, USI, and Franklin, we're all building something together. We're building something with our students, with our alumni, with our researchers, and our teachers and professors. And this something we're building is the reputation of our 3 universities. And this is, of course, something that in the long run, and I'm noticing this myself now after 20 years after my graduation, unfortunately, so time flies, but let's say that what we did as a community and with a common effort also gives a new value to my diploma, to my degree. And this is something, therefore, that also comes back to you in the future. This effort you're making now will be something that you will be seeing the benefits of in the future. And this is something that both we as USI and also also the Franklin University, of course, we're seeing a lot of very positive results in the rankings, for example, and these are results that have been obtained together with a common effort thanks to the teachers' work and the students' opinions. And this all adds value, as I say, both to the university itself, but also to the regions that host these universities. So what we're doing is that we think you position yourselves with a research, first of all, so you get more famous, so to speak, and it's also a way for us to become more known as a place where there's a quality research going on. And also the city of Lugano is put on the map. And the role of Lugano Living Lab and also the interest for the city to show, of course, that Lugano and Italian Switzerland as such are places where you can do high-level research and where you can do high-level and high-quality studies. Right, so we were saying you have certain freedoms, certain liberties, but also responsibilities. Freedoms because with these videos, of course, you can express yourselves totally freely and talk about your personal project, your dissertation, your studies, and also because you are represented, let's say, you represent the project that you are working on right now. So, on the other hand, you also have certain responsibilities. And in this case, we would like to give you some advice, although maybe the colleague Giovanni just said that you shouldn't give any advice, but we would like to give you some advice this evening. First of all, we think it's useful for you to contextualize the project that you represent in your video. So if you're talking about your dissertation or a project that you are doing in a certain way, a film project, for example, then it's also very important to really enhance the quality, to highlight the quality of your project. So if there are any particular innovative methodological aspects you are embracing, if you are involving partners on the territory, for example, to carry out your project, if there were any concrete applications after your research or after your project, then it would be a good idea to mention that. Or if it's a group project, right? For example, if you've worked in a group, it's useful to say so. Also to give more value to the group work and to this aspect of your skills, the fact that you're able to work in a group and that you're a good team player. And another very important aspect, finally, is, of course, making very clear what university you're from. And we will, of course, explain now in a moment how you should make that clear, how you should quote the university. So I'm going to just link up to what I was saying before. We are building something together, and often we ask ourselves, okay, what is this thing we're building together? Well, the more I think about it, in fact, the more I think that this is something collective, something that we all have in common in the academic world, in the world of universities, and that's why we wanted to do this presentation together, all three universities and not separately, as we've also done in previous years. So I think it's useful to convey all these messages that really show the idea of a university that proposes high-level, high-quality training and studies, innovative universities, and of course you, by means of your research, can show how innovative we are, because you can give this image where you have a very strong digital component, for example. Often you have interdisciplinary research projects even, and those are particularly interesting projects. And to us, it is important to convey the message as soon as we can in our communication. We always write that you should highlight the work of our students, the work of our graduates. We always try to put them in the forefront, and also the work of our alumni. And we try to be useful on the territory. Even Franklin University, which is a very international university, for example, they still are very linked to the territory. Even USI, USI, is very much a territorial university, although it is, of course, also international. So we are very much concerned about that. So maybe more for Franklin and USI or USI, I would say that it is important for us to enhance this national and international dimension at once. So once again, these are messages, of course, that are specific to the sector. So I don't think if you are talking to a communication expert from another university that would say something different. I think it's common to all universities. But it's also true that one of the universities, as we were saying before, each university, has its own strategies, its own characteristics in the short and the long term. And as we were saying before, how should you quote your university or the institution you belong to in these videos that you're going to be making? Our advice is that you should insert this very fluidly in your discourse. So as you're talking, just mention it and not just, okay, I introduce myself, this is my name, I'm XYZ, and I'm doing this degree or whatever, and then say it, but maybe insert it in some I don't know, you might say, with my colleagues in the master's course of whatever at the USI, we have worked on this project. So just as you're talking, that would be most natural. The important information, maybe you could leave it for the end, or we have this text in overlay on the video where it's going to be shown your name and your surname, of course, is going to be shown, and also the degree that you're studying in, and the fact that you are a student at the university that you belong to and in what course that you are attending. Okay, so we're going to write that anyway. And also the university is going to be mentioned in some identity and some visual identity elements. I know that some visual communication students are going to be working on that, so you know that these aspects also, of course, have an important role. And finally, when you will share and publish these videos on your social channels, your personal channels, if you do so, and we hope you will, then you should remember that we have hashtags also. You're going to find them also here on the slides, and that you can use, of course, on your own social networks. Se posso un attimo interrompere perché sono l'ultimo arrivato, ovviamente, ma se dobbiamo parlare di come fare talent scouting, come trovare i talenti, devo essere un po' dirrompente, quindi cercate di non fare il video come se fosse una dichiarazione del reddito, ma cercate di dare un po' di emozioni, mostrare un po' di emozioni quando parlate, non parlate con un tono monotono, come ha detto il dottor Pellegri adesso, infatti altrimenti forse non si capirà esattamente quello che volete dire, no? Perché forse non usate i gesti, non usate le emozioni, anche le persone non sanno niente del vostro campo di ricerca, quindi cercate di far vedere che avete un talento comunicativo anche quando parlate.
It's already my time. It's interesting that I have an empty slide because this gives me the freedom
ed è interessante questo perché mi dà la libertà di dire esattamente quello che volevo dire, che parla del talent scouting, no? Di questa ricerca di talenti. Il talento si divide in due parti. Una parte è come se foste sposati, no? Sono tutte le parti, diciamo, quelle con cui siete sposati, quindi la genetica, le parti che fanno parte di voi, le caratteristiche che fanno parte della vostra personalità. Se siete qua e siete stati selezionati, avete delle competenze, ovviamente avete già fatto certe cose per essere stati scelti. Un'altra parte invece bisogna crescerla all'interno di voi stessi. Quindi per fare questo c'è uno studio interessante che ho letto dove si parla di un CEO, di un amministratore delegato, e quello che si dice che è veramente richiesto da un amministratore delegato dipende molto dalla cultura in cui si lavora. In Italia un amministratore delegato deve avere tanti rapporti con altre persone, in Svizzera o in Germania è qualcuno di affidabile, in Cina bisogna essere semplicemente fortunati. Ma le cose si complicano un po' quando adesso viviamo in un mondo così multinazionale, multiculturale, dove le culture si incontrano e bisogna decidere anche quali software si utilizzano. Quando vado a Zurigo, per esempio, io utilizzo due categorie mentali completamente diverse da quando sono a Milano, quindi non soltanto perché parlo tedesco e italiano, ma è un altro modo di pensare, un'altra mentalità. Qual è il ruolo dell'università quindi in questo e per gli studenti che hanno la mente scientifica o tecnica? E c'è un paradosso, perché non dovremmo concentrarci solo sulla scienza e sulla tecnologia, ma piuttosto su qualcosa che è qualcosa di più lungo, un processo più lungo, che sono le arti liberali, la storia, la filosofia, la letteratura, e c'è una grande differenza tra da essere in mezzo a una folla
For those
o
of
essere
us
un follower
who speak German, they have a
tecnologico,
very
come
nice term
coloro
which
di
is
noi che parlano
Fachidiot, which
tedesco,
is the
c'è un
specialized
termine che si
idiot,
chiama
and you don't
che è
want to be
Fachidiote,
here.
significa un idiota
And in order not
tecnico,
to
diciamo,
be in
e
that
significa
middle
che
ground
per non
where
essere
you
in
fade into
questa zona
oblivion
di mezzo dove
before you
si viene
realize,
dimenticati
a
prima
nice way
ancora
to further
di
stress
rendersi di
Dr. Pellegri's
potersi
point is
realizzare,
probably what you read
probabilmente
about the
quello che
astrocytes
avete letto
delivering a
sui
different form of glucose to the
estrocidi,
neurons
che appunto
is outdated
danno
by
una
the time
specie
you're
di
done
un
reading
tipo di
it.
glucosio diverso ai
And
neuroni, è solo un altro
you should be
modo di
aware of this very
leggerlo.
short
E
half-life
dovreste
and concentrate
sapere che c'è
on your
questa
communication
vita molto
skills,
breve,
on the
concentrarsi
power
sulle capacità
of
di
your
comunicazioni e sul potere
of the way you speak
del
and you
modo in
write.
cui
And
parlate,
sometimes
del modo in
this
cui
requires
scrivete, e a volte questo
hard
richiede
decisions like
prendere delle decisioni molto
deciding not to
difficili,
be entirely
come il fatto di
correct from the
decidere di non
scientific
essere totalmente
or the
corretti dal
technological point
punto
of
di
view,
vista
because you have to convey your message
scientifico-tecnologico,
across.
perché dovete
So
comunicare un
what
messaggio.
you are
Quindi
going to be
quello
doing in the
che
next few
farete
weeks, I
voi
understand
nelle
there is going to
prossime
be some
settimane,
tutoring and
e
mentoring
ho capito che ci sarà anche un po'
regarding
di tutoring, un po' di
the little
mentoring
movie that you're going
per
to
fare
create.
questo video che dovete
And this is
creare.
all very good, but
E
do
questo è tutto
not
molto bello, ma
lose
come vi dico, per favore
the
non
spontaneous way to
perdete il
communicate,
vostro modo
because
spontaneo
that
di
really will
comunicare, perché
reveal
questo
your true
veramente
selves. Thank
potrà far vedere la vostra vera identità.
Grazie. Sì, io concluderei.
Right, thank you. And maybe I would just end by wishing you all a very, very good work, and I hope you enjoy this project. You are our best ambassadors, as I said, and as you see up here on the slide, every time we can, we put you on the very first page of all of communication. So have fun with this project. I will see some of you again during the tutoring process, and for the rest of you, I will be very happy to see all of you again in your videos. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.